As a woke lefty, soy boy, cuck, I just cower in fear when I see the offensive T slur. I'm so scared to even say it. The offensive T slur. Oh my God. So offensive. Very offended. Made a video called I'm an Asexual with a High Sex Drive. Trans guy reacts to cringe asexual TikToks. Ace Armada, you're being represented at the top of this screen right now. There's trans, there's poly, and at the very top, there's Ace. Trans, poly, Ace. Amen. The trans king is here, I think. Or the Ace king? Queen? Royalty? Who knows? Someone said Ace king earlier. The real Cody Webb. And there's a trident. I'm into tridents. Okay.
We have been gatekept from too many communities to start gatekeeping ourselves.
All right.
We are not gatekeepers. We are welcomers to the land of asexuality.
There we go.
Something I've never talked about on my channel is asexuality. The old-fashioned definition of asexuality is people who don't want to have sex.
Okay. That's the definition.
But apparently it's way more nuanced and complicated than that.
It's so weird to be smarmy about that. This kid just makes me so irritated. Why is this kid... Why? Why do you... Can you... Try this. Can you get to a point where you just hear somebody the fuck out? Just hear them out. And be like, look, give me your good faith explanation of how you feel. And just ask them questions. You will find that you'll learn some stuff, man. You don't have to be so dumb. It's the young, dumb kid. Why? And you're uploading this. Ugh.
And apparently it's under the LGBTQIA+ umbrella.
Why are you rolling your eyes? You just not like the rest of them, huh? Just not like the rest, huh? Oh.
So let's watch some TikToks and try to be more educated on this topic.
Basically, asexuality is a spectrum. As a whole, we are not sexually attracted to people. Some people are in certain situations, because again, spectrum, but not in general. I'm not really at all, ever. I don't think so. Never think I've experienced it. But anyway, libido is a separate thing from sexual attraction. You will find this on any source on asexuality.
Why not? What? What is this? What is this little fucking face you're making, you dumb? I hate dumb kids. Don't be, if you're a kid, don't be a dumb. Very hard task. We're all dumb-dumbs when we're kids. Don't be a dumb, you dumb kid. Ain't no reason.
Published at least since I've been born.
Sexual attraction has nothing to do with libido?
No, that is not what was said.
I don't think so. Never think I've experienced it. But anyway, libido is a separate thing from sexual attraction.
That is a different sentence altogether. Libido is a different thing from sexual attraction. You, in 56 seconds, you couldn't even just pay attention. All right, we need another one. Come on over. All right, you're the offensive T slur. So offensive. You're invited to come have a chat, dum-dum. Jesus Christ. Send another one.
Oh, come on now.
And basically that means whether or not you have the physical desire to do sexual things alone or with other people. I have the desire sometimes more than other times. Another thing to consider is that asexual people sometimes are sex repulsed, sometimes are sex positive, and sometimes neutral.
An asexual person who is sex positive. That makes sense.
It does make sense. What are you having at the camera? Wow, jeez, God. Unearned smugness is definitely a thing that makes me fucking annoyed. Unearned smugness. You can be sex positive if you don't want to have sex. You can be like, yeah, okay, you guys can go fuck. Like, you can be positive. You can have positive interactions with it. You can understand the validity of other people's sexuality and be a sex positive person, and not also want to pursue the activity yourself nearly as much as everybody else. So it's you gotta. I don't know how to wake up a kid's smooth little fucking brain. I don't know how to do it.
Here's another one. Things you might not have known about asexuality. Asexuality refers to a lack of sexual attraction, not a lack of attraction altogether.
Yeah.
Asexual people can have any romantic orientation. For example, I'm an asexual lesbian.
Uh-huh.
You want to have a companion without having sex?
Yes.
If that's you, I mean, cool. I don't have a problem with that at all. Of course not. Not all
Of
ace
course
people
not.
are sex repulsed. Some enjoy it and have a high sex drive. How can you be asexual with a high sex drive?
You don't want to have sex, but you're horny. This is just a normal thing. You ever been horny, but you don't want to go through having sex? I have. Not often do I not want to go through sex. Usually it's like I'm horny and sick, or I don't feel good, or whatever. I just want to do it. Same thing. Horny, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes you're just like, I'd rather masturbate. Sometimes they masturbate, dude. I don't know. Like, I don't know how they handle it. Everyone handles it different.
It's like saying, oh, homosexual men, they can have sex with women. They can be attracted to women.
Homosexual men can have sex with women and have sex with women, but it is a different thing. Because I would assume if someone identifies personally as a homosexual man who isn't attracted to women, usually, I mean, sometimes maybe someone comes around and you're like, okay, let's do it. Let's be sexually involved. Like, also, people have sex with people they're not attracted to regularly. This is a thing that happens, especially conservative wives.
That's what I hear when I see stuff like this. And that's
Because you're stupid.
Stupid.
Yes, because you are stupid. You are stupid. You're the one that said the stupid thing. Nobody in the video that you're reacting to said the stupid thing. You made up a stupid thing to say and then said accurately, the thing I just said was stupid. There was no... You were the target of your own critique, I guess, there.
Just a reminder that you can find people aesthetically pleasing and still be asexual. You can be attracted to someone and still be asexual. You can want to be in a relationship and still be asexual.
Yep.
You can do the activity and still be asexual. And if you are not asexual, it is not your place to tell people what does and does not count as asexual.
I love how these activists want to be in a minority group. However, the definitions of these terms are so broad that most people can relate to them.
No. An asexual person generally doesn't have sex. Generally. Out of choice or lack of desire or repulsion. Like, it's not that hard. And sometimes it's like, well, I'll go through with it because it feels good, number one, and I like my partner, but it's not an activity that I'm particularly invested in or think about, or like, you know what I mean? Like, some people, it's totally valid. I don't know. It's like saying, you're not a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, so you can't play basketball because only they play. If you're not in the NBA, you're not playing that. Like, what? Okay, like, sometimes you play basketball. You don't have to be great at it. Like, very weird stuff. You can be gay and have tried sex with other people to see if you like it. You could be straight and try sex with other people to see if you like it. Like, whatever feels right to you is correct. There's no reason for you to nitpick over somebody else's shit, you weirdo. You're just a little freak. You're just like a little weird little freak about this. You're the weird one. Like, these people are just existing and telling you, this is our shit. It doesn't take much to conceive of. You think it's like no drop. If you have sex one time, you're no longer asexual. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Like, apply it to gender for 2 seconds. If you were a girl once, were you a girl forever? Nope. because the context of who you are remains true. It remains who you are. So if you're asexual and you fuck once or twice or every day, although I doubt the everyday thing, but that'd be interesting. I would love to hear that person's story and tell me how they talk about it. Like, I would love to understand their thinking behind it. Is it their job? It's like punching buttons at the factory to them. You're ace demi and have had sex. It happens. Ace demi. I think a lot of people that are demi would also semi-describe themselves as ace-ish, ace flux-ish, somewhere in there. Particularly because of how demi affects them, right? Chat, we currently have 1111111. Hold on. This is not a booty party. It's the only screen where I have it. Anyway, I just wanted to show you guys. No one subscribe. I mean, or everyone do one more time. So we have two.
You can't be in a minority group if that minority group is, first of all, made up most of the time, but also something that most people can relate to. I'm sorry, but you can't have it both ways.
Yes, you can.
It's because activists are so afraid of offending some people that they have to make the definitions broad.
No one's afraid of offending anybody. If an ace person is offended by something I say, I don't care, but I would love to know why. Because I don't think I'm saying anything crazy. Right? Usually if someone's offended by these parts of speech, they're a fucking conservative. No lefties are touchy about these things. It's fine. As long as you have good faith on the conversation, everyone wants to talk about this stuff. It's fascinating. Gender is an interesting topic, and it manifests differently. When we start talking about this with humans, this is all going to fade away. In 100 years, nobody's going to fucking care about gender, okay? Nobody. Because it's all going to be fucking It doesn't matter. Gender is a construct. But obviously we have predilections that involve our sex and our hormones, like our body shapes and some stuff. And sometimes that's incongruent with how we want to live. And that's okay too. It's fine. Like you can try to live however you wish. And I don't know why you would at all have a hard time with somebody describing themselves as ace and sometimes fucking, and you being like, no, you're not, and they're like, yeah, I am, and you're like, no, like, okay, and then they walk away from you with their group of friends, and you sit alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, cool.
And I get it that we shouldn't leave people out of a conversation. However, what's the point of having these sexualities, gender identities, and labels if anyone can just relate to them?
Anyone can relate to them. What do you mean? Anyone can relate. Okay. It's called empathy. I have a sexual orientation. It is not ace. However, I can empathize with, I have a libido, and I would like my libido to be satisfied at reasonable areas. And I have sexual attraction, and I would like to experience fulfillment of that sexual attraction. And if you're ace, I can imagine like wanting to also just have certain aspects of your life where you're like, oh, I don't want to have a lot of sex, or I have a partner, but I, don't want to have sex a lot, but I do sometimes because it makes them feel good and I like the connection. Like, there's lots of different ways to live your life. I don't know why these kids like this on the grift make content like this. It just makes you look fucking stupid, man. I would love to have conversations with these types of people. Can still get aroused. Ace people can get aroused. Ace may, like, look, all of it lives on a spectrum. Asexuality lives on a spectrum kind of apart from sexuality, but it's also part of it. Like I don't know how you want to envision it, but some people try to envision it like a graph or some shit. I don't know. But it's like I guess think of it from like a horny scale, 0 to 10, but it's not only libido, it's also sexual attraction. It's also like even the way you contextualize sex apart from libido and attraction. Like, there's so much socializing that goes on. This is a complex discussion, and so really the best way to go about it is just like listen to someone's honest opinion about their own shit. Because it's unlikely that you and I are going to experience the human condition and existence in the same exact way, right? So why don't I just listen to you and what you got going on, and then just ask questions? And like, I don't know how it feels to be ace, but I can conceptualize it. And apparently, this child's small brain isn't capable of it.
And if you are asexual, we have been gatekept from too many communities to start gatekeeping ourselves. We are not gatekeepers, we are welcomers to the land of asexuality. And if people decide to come in and realize that this place isn't for them, they are free to go. It is not our job to police asexuality.
True.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good take. Because, like, just live your life. Yep. Great take. Good
I
job, Real
think
Cody
that
Webb.
this person needs to go out more. I have no idea what he's talking about.
This is not a good look. People watch this and go like, ha, 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 yeah, you're right.
I know all about gatekeeping in the trans community because that's a heated topic and it's an important topic. So the wrong people don't make irreversible changes to themselves and their bodies, but I have no idea what's going on in this community. I did ask you all on my Instagram, what did you think about asexuality? And let's read some of them today. Someone wrote, not LGBT. I totally agree. LGBT is lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transsexual.
Sure, that is true of this acronym. What the Ace King is touching on is the draw of people who've been sexually assaulted and need a safe space as they rediscover their sexuality. It's kind of sad that there are people who don't let assault victims into the space. So there are some assault victims who are like what Ace community would describe as temporarily ace for the purposes of trauma avoidance or something. And as they rehabilitate, they move out of the space, and ace people don't like that. That sounds stupid. Intersectionality is good, and sexuality is fluid, and once we understand that, then it means that, like, you're not fucking locked into any one answer, bro. You can be ace for 2 weeks. It's okay. You can go through phases of demisexuality. Whatever you feel is correct. Like, I can't imagine that if you feel like really like genuinely I am ace only for 2 weeks out of the year, like, it's probably just like a libido thing, like maybe reestablished. But like, honestly, like, if you identify as something strongly, then you're right. As long as you're coming from a good faith position, which I suspect everybody is, then I mean, you're right. Aesthetic attraction is what everyone feels when they see someone of a gender they aren't attracted to who is very good looking. It's more like, ooh, pretty. Thank you for the 50 bitty. Sometimes, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely a thing that exists. Sarah sounds like she's having a good time on raid night. Let's go. Or whatever she's doing.
That's my opinion. Transgender is
Maybe,
probably the old-fashioned term of LGBT. I don't agree that asexuality is a thing. I think it's a thing that some people, for some reason, don't want to have sex. But I don't see it as a sexuality. It's quite the opposite.
What do you mean? It's literally an aspect of sexuality. Like, I agree that it exists on the opposite side of the spectrum from sexual people, but it still informs their sexuality and their attractions and stuff, like whether they have none.
It's the lack of sexuality, and I don't think it's that deep, and it has, again, nothing to do with LGBT. Someone wrote complex trauma, and that's a thing. I mean, if you've experienced trauma regarding your body and sexuality, of course that will affect your mental health, and that would affect the way that you look at sex. Of course it would. And
okay, so let's steel man it. Let's say every asexual person, this is not true. Let's say every asexual person has complex trauma that describes their asexuality. Isn't that just valid though? Then, like, you can't dismiss it in that scenario. Then you're like, okay, well then you're valid.
It's completely valid. That's the only
You have
time
to.
I'm going to say that word.
That's the only time I'm going to say that word. It has to be completely valid. It has to be.
It's valid if you don't want to have sex due to trauma. If you're offended when I say
What if you...
that it's due to sexual trauma, you're kind of stigmatizing sexual trauma.
No, because it's not necessarily sexual trauma, dum-dum. That's the point. Like, you can't just blanket it. It could be, but it's not necessarily that. It's like saying it's sexual trauma that you're trans. It just is a non sequitur. It doesn't make any sense. It's an aspersion. You're just casting aspersions because you don't understand something. And through your ignorance, you're like, yeah, that sounds fucking right. That's what it would take for me not to want to have sex. It's like, but you're different than the other person. Like, how you don't understand that you're just fucking different from somebody else? Dumb as shit. People like this are why I felt so gosh darn shy about sharing who I am, and it is due in part to this community that I feel comfy in who I am. So thank you, Core Community, for being you. Thank you, Gnome Pickles, for the 100 biddies, and also for being you. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't give a shit how, in the nicest, most ally way possible, I don't give a fuck what you identify as. I don't care what your orientation is. That's the point. I don't give a fuck. It's only relevant to me if we're trying to fuck each other. But if we're not, then I don't care. Then I don't care. It'll come up in conversation sometimes. That's the most I experience it or give a shit about it. Like, or if I'm asking your opinion on something about your experience, that's cool too. Like, whatever you manifest is the fucking real. That's real. Just be real. If everyone was just fucking real, it would be fine. But no, we have fuck boys. They just want to pretend to be who they think people ought to be. It's so dumb. It's all fucking cap, dude. It's all a performance. Everybody's full of shit all the time.
We should embrace these people and help them and not bring them down. This one is interesting. I used to identify as such for years. Turns out I was just young and dysphoric.
That's fine. You could have been ace during that period of time, and now you're not. That's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I didn't have sex for years because I was too dysphoric about my body. Why would I share it and use it with another person?
Makes sense.
This is about mental health.
Not every ace person is just fucking not mentally healthy.
It has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with valid gender and sexual identities. This is about your mental health, and it should not be hard to talk about. It should not be offensive to talk about. And if you don't want to have sex, something's wrong. Let's not stigmatize that. Let's not shame on the people who don't have the desire. But we as human beings, adult human beings, we naturally want to have sex. Period. Sex and masturbation is really good for you. It's healthy. It's healthy mentally, but also physically. And you can't deny that. Okay, this one is deep, but...
You don't have to have sex to be healthy. It is... Any amount of sexuality is healthy. It just is. Whatever the amount of sexuality is that you want to engage in is the right amount. You're not gonna die if you don't come. Sometimes it might feel that way though if you're just real blue. But get over it. If I can get over it, you can get over it. Because I have needs, chat.
spot on. I just didn't allow myself to have sexual desire, but it was there. I just wanted to stay a child. I'm 100% positive that this person is not the only one. And there are some...
I wanted to stay a child. I wonder where you adopt the language of once you have sex, you're like thrust into adulthood and it's this big fucking change. Like, boy, oh boy. This lives in like shame and religion and fucking like conservatism and parents being weirdos. This doesn't live naturally in a human. Your natural inclination is correct. Shame is not a natural human inclination. Shame is something societally built. It is silly to validate feelings of shame, in my opinion. I don't believe that there is, unless you, like, remorse is one thing. Shame is another thing. Shame is like societal faux pas, and to a certain extent, I don't think shame should exist. I think shame only exists when you do something like fucking horrible. I think that's a viable shame, obviously, but like something mean-spirited, whatever. But like living and thoughts and like the way that you are and just existing, like fuck that. I was talking to Sarah last night about shame. I don't have fucking shame like that. And I feel like everybody that has shame has religious upbringing, and it seems to track. Most people do. I'm asexual. It's wild to hear someone say that if I don't want sex, there's something wrong with me. This person is weird. Big time. Thank you, P-Meal. Thanks so much for the biddies. Keeping the lights on with your juice. We use the juice inside cobs like lamps, and they light the cobs from the inside. There's a warm glow. It's actually what the lamps are made of. There's gender fluid in there, and then that's 100% corn oil on the inside, made with corn glass and corn metal.
Some reasons to that. Looking into this asexual community, a lot of these people either admit to have an autistic diagnosis, or they show some signs and symptoms of it.
Okay, so if they're all autistic and they're ace, every autistic person is ace and has been abused. Or every ace person is autistic and has been abused, of course. That's now we're on that shit. We're just speculating wildly about ace people. Okay, they're still valid, even if that's the case. Even if you were right about that thing that you're trying to invalidate them with, it wouldn't do that. It would not invalidate them, in fact. It would just be just as valid as now, in reality.
And that makes sense. I'm not an expert on
queer toast
autism,
corn syrup,
but I know the thing about, physical touch and stuff like that is complicated for autistic people.
Not every look. Sarah is also on the spectrum, and she doesn't necessarily like human touch all the time. She likes my human touch, but I'm fucking nice. Okay, I'm good. But she's sexual. It's not all autistic people are fucking ace. I don't know why you would speculate this way. Again, just dumb shit. Just really fucking no-braining, drooling out of the mouth. Just saying stuff. Just saying.
But also the mental maturity. Some young adults are still mentally like young teenagers.
I would definitely put you in the category of someone who has the mental acuity of a subpar teenager. Yeah, definitely.
So, of course, they don't want to have sex because they don't feel like they're
I don't even know how old he
enough
is
mentally to have sex. So I would say that instead of calling it asexual and kind of have a discussion what it means, is it a spectrum, is it not, is it LGBT, is it not, how about calling it what it is? Symptoms of autism, or symptoms of sexual trauma. Is there something wrong with having autism? Is there something wrong with being a survivor of sexual assault or anything in that lane? No, not at all. A lot of you say that you don't buy it, and you guys are just regular people out there, and if you don't get it or you don't buy it, it says a lot.
No, it doesn't. Not about ace people, it certainly doesn't. You don't have to buy it. It's not like
it has to do.
You just don't get to fucking sign off on anybody else's identity or experience, you fucking loser. Tell me more about my history and sexuality, baby Shapiro. Yeah, I mean, he just fucking doesn't know anything.
The people who are going to be extremely offended by this video and me not believing that asexuality is a valid label, maybe they're spending too much time on TikTok and in this community.
I don't have a TikTok. I'm like a boomer to you. I would love to talk to you, my dude. I would love to talk to you about this topic, gender and sexuality and all this stuff. We should have a talk. How do I do you have a fucking Twitter, bro? You do. Let's go. Hey, Marcus. You have what I would consider very not good takes about gender and sexuality sometimes, often, just in general. Would love to have a conversation about it sometime on stream if you're interested. These people are valid. We'll see. Let's see what happens. Oh, he's got more of this fucking video? No, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. You're not saying anything interesting. No, it's done. It's over. It's over. The offensive T-slur video over. I'm going to follow too. Yeah, I can't listen to any more of just like nonsense. Just lying about stuff.